things are
and
about
that was
to get
another one of those what if
way
moments,
worse.
because they were about to leave for Mandalore, and I'm like, if they were like 20 minutes ahead of schedule, if Anakin was 20 minutes ahead of schedule, he's on Mandalore, he fights Maul with Obi-Wan, like none of that ever happens.
Yeah, and Mace Windu kills Count Dooku and then Darth Sidious, and everybody's good. It's all
They did such a good job because as I said, it's easier to do it in hindsight, but I think it's harder in hindsight to make it feel clever.
Yeah, it's a really great moment. It's a great choice to sort of. It's the one time where I'm like, yeah, resetting the status quo works here because we know it's about to be upended right away, and it makes it more impactful emotionally.
Especially if you just go to watch these four, because generally I watch the series all the way through. I've said, I have a hard time just jumping in the middle of something. But these they're part of it, but also stand alone so well that if you just put this on, you get that whole prelude, and it feels like a movie sequel when you used to have to wait 3-4 years between movie sequels, and you have to catch up with your friends again and remember because you didn't just watch it yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's really great. It's a good intro, but also one thing I think is cool about seeing where Ahsoka was before this happened is her interaction with Obi-Wan and their sort of spat that they have in front of Anakin. I really like that where Ahsoka's trying to convince Obi-Wan to go to Mandalore, and how she does convince him eventually to do it, which is really great, I think. But it shows how she's no longer a Padawan and she is a peer to Obi-Wan.
Yeah, she grew up a lot in those, whatever it was timeline-wise, maybe just a year or two, but it was a lot of growing up.
Yeah, you have to imagine like everything she's been through in this war would change her and her, how she carries herself. That's
true, because she grew up fast as a Padawan, just because it's like, hey, you're 11, go to war.
Right.
And then all of a sudden she's out on her own and she has no family and no support system and has to figure it out.
Yeah, no, it's great that they call that back. It's also great. I was thinking about Bo-Katan. This is like the best version of her. Is this like, and we see her in Rebels and stuff, but it made me nostalgic for this version of Bo-Katan where it's like she's good-ish, but she could still betray you at any moment because as long as she's just getting what she wants, out of the situation, she's not really honor-bound completely at this point, which is interesting.
She's honor-bound for what she thinks is right for her own people.
Yeah.
But like Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, they're just like, you're a tool I need to get the job done.
Yeah. And I think that was, I'm going to be doing a lot of comparing and contrasting here because I feel like between now and Mandalorian Season 3, the plot gets lost in a lot of these characters. And it sort of becomes like just what, by Mandalorian Season 3, I don't feel like Bo-Katan is the same person as she is here. And obviously like there's 15 years obviously in between this. So maybe backstories will be filled where you get to see her grow, but
well, I also think it shows a lot of growth just in comparing the determined, I'm in it all for Mandalore, I'm going to be the leader, I'm going to rule the people, I'm a great warrior, to how, like, especially when Din Djarin goes back to her family home and she's just like sitting full in armor in this uncomfortable throne, not a single soul in sight, because she's just like, I am empty. I lost it all. I was estranged from my family. I went to war with my sister who ended up dead. Like, she lost everything she had, her followers, the throne. She tried to save the Mandalorian people because in her mind, she did the right thing every step of the way. So this determined version of her, I don't think she would regret, but it's like she gambled so big and lost everything. So for her to then kind of pal around with Din Djarin, who lives a much simpler life, because you even see after she goes into the waters of Mandalore to rescue him, she kind of does the bath also. She doesn't take her helmet off for a while after that because she's like, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah, you're good point. Good point. Yeah, so I think I like that how Bo-Katan is in this version of her as sort of like a more roguish character who is out purely for, like you said, protect her people, but also for revenge is like a big motivator for her, which I think is cool.
If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe.
So I'm not a big Kevin Kiner fan as a composer, and that's not on him for this show. I think as again, this is me being a hyper super nerd about things. I think in Rebels and Clone Wars and Ahsoka, he relies too heavily on temp scores, and he'll just sort of, that's sort of the constraints that are put on him. A lot of composers do this, where they just sort of rescore old music to match with whatever that is happening. But I think that shows how he can at least understand what fits well in a moment really quickly and get it something put together for that. There are parts of this that annoy me, but one part of the music that really works is the Order 66 part and playing Anakin's dark deeds while Ahsoka's being attacked by the clones in that moment. That's like perfect. And especially after Jedi Survivor did something similar with that piece of music as well, and it hits home. And just like so, Revenge of the Sith, Jedi Survivor, and then this episode of the Clone Wars use like that music becomes so powerful across three uses of it, and it never feels hack in any way. It just like it works. And I wonder if that's just the filmmaking or the directors or the artists like stepping up because they're like, we've got this piece by John Williams that's like masterful. We have to make sure this moment lands that we earn the use of it. And they do completely.
Yeah, that's. I'm not a very musically inclined person, which is a weird statement to make. It always confuses people. Like, I don't really listen to music, like, ever. So I don't register it as much as a lot of people do, especially in something like Star Wars, where the score is so important to it as a life of its own. I always thought, because it's not just Kevin Kiner, it's his son also, right?
His son joined him on, I think, Tales of the Jedi Batch? Or the Bad Batch. One of those.
I always thought they did a really good job because John Williams there's not a bigger pair of shoes to fill in movie scoring. Like that's an impossible task to step up to that. So I always thought they did a very good job because the themes are meant to be, I don't want to say recycled because that makes it sound cheap and bad, but that's the whole point of it being a theme. Because I swear there was a point where Ahsoka I think it's when she was confronting Maul, and it kind of plays her own theme, and it mixes in a little bit of Anakin, and then it touches into the Obi-Wan theme. Or at this time, I don't think there was an Obi-Wan theme, but music that I would associate with Obi-Wan. I think Obi-Wan only got a theme in the Obi-Wan series, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So I thought that was really cool, but maybe I'm hearing it wrong.
No, I've noticed that the Maul stuff does a great job of mixing in Ahsoka's theme, and then also Duel of the Fates are sort of also played around with, which is really cool. I think that the part that annoyed me was there's bits of Rey's theme in the Siege of Mandalore when Ahsoka's attacking, and that takes me out. It's kind of, I had the same complaint with Rise of Skywalker, and that's me criticizing John Williams there, where the Yoda theme would play and there would be nothing related to Yoda whatsoever in that moment. It was just to get a reaction. And I feel like Kevin Kiner using Rey's theme isn't him trying to call attention to Rey. It's them, whoever was editing it, the boards together or whatever, was using music from Force Awakens, Last Jedi or whatever.
They just said this sounds nice, and it wasn't really like, it wasn't a theme in the point of, they're not evoking Rey or what Rey is supposed to stand for or a connection to Palpatine or whatever it would be at the time. It's just a piece of music.
Yeah, and I'm guessing in Rise of Skywalker it's the same thing. Whenever they're putting the edit together, they put in Yoda's theme in that moment. And John Williams was probably so tired at that point, he was like, yeah, it works. And, that's probably... Here, it's like, it's a Star Wars theme. It works for the moment, but as a super nerd like me, and this is what the show's for, is me, like, nitpicking and going through things.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
yeah, it's absolutely what we're doing.
It takes me out a little bit. And there's even some moments later where they play in some music from the sequel trilogy that it kind of, again, sort of takes me out of it because I'm trying to put like meaning to it. Like, how does this relate to that? And I'm not seeing it there. So it's me being a music nerd kind of taking me out of it. But that's a very slight nitpick overall, like